Okay, guys, let's go. Ask me anything. Number 12. The consistency is still there. This time I'm recording on a Sunday. I've just had a game. The game ended in a draw, 3-3. I'm recording on a Sunday. Normally it's a Saturday. So if we could put it, we could say that possibly I might be in a different mental space. But then again, I always say, stay calm, be unaffected, blah, 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 blah. Maintain a stoic outlook, expression, or lack of expression, emotional control. So we should be fine. Although the game was emotional. It ended in a draw, 3-3. We were 3-1 up in the second half, and then we just conceded 2 goals. So anyway, as usual, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about football, because that's how I start. This is the routine. Then I go into anything else, whatever questions I've got. Whoever is not interested in football can skip. I'm very advanced now. The contents are always there. You've got the timestamps. So you don't want to listen about football, up to you. Skip to whatever you want to listen to. And I was going to talk about something else, but since the game ended 2 hours ago, it's very fresh in my mind. And what happened there, it was what was evident was the difference between winning and losing, between winning and not winning, because we didn't lose, but the difference. So what we need to understand is in a game and in sport, not even just in sport, you're gonna have in general good moments, bad moments, good moments, bad moments, very bad moments, very good moments. We don't live in a the environment, and what happens to you is not consistent. It's ever changing. Okay, so but let's bring it back to sport. In a game you have 90 minutes. Okay, most of the times the game is not going to be going your way for those 90 minutes. Sometimes it's only going to go the other way for 5 minutes. Sometimes it's going to go the other way for 80 minutes, and you're going to be struggling for a long time. Now, what I wanted to say is your ability to stay in the game while things are not going your way is going to determine your ability to win. Not determine, but heavily influence your ability to win. So how you stay in that game, how your ability to stay in the game is heavily influenced by your physical and mental abilities. I've said ability 17 times now. Anyway, so winning is here. How you get there, apart from everything else that goes into it, very important. When the times are bad, you can stay in the fight. You're still in it. Okay, so this is a big contributor towards winning. And below that, you've got the foundations. So how you stay in that fight when things are going bad, whether you can stay in it or not, is dependent heavily on your mental state and your physical condition. And I know I've talked about the different aspects, which are different aspects of sport, like football. We're talking about football the majority of time, which is tactical, technical, physical, social, psychological, da 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 da. As if they're all different areas of the game, of course, but you need to understand that they're connected, especially physical and mental. They're linked. They go together, more or less. So in a game at any time, they're not even in a game, but whenever you're tired, your decision making is naturally gonna get worse. Okay, that's a fact. That's not my opinion, that's a fact. That is well known. Okay, when you're tired, you cannot really make good decisions. Okay, so physical tiredness is gonna impact your mental state. And then obviously your mental state impacts everything else. So it's not, oh, I'm very tired physically, but I'm mentally very strong. No. The more tired you get physically, the weaker you become mentally, and the opposite. The stronger you become, the stronger you are physically, like everything else becomes just a bit easier. Okay, when you wake up, feel good, you're strong, you're in shape, everything is good. You feel good. Okay, things are much easier. Imagine you wake up, you have no energy, your body. You get tired just putting on your clothes. Everything else becomes much more difficult. So physicality and your mental state are very much linked. So we need to understand that. So in this particular game, let me get back to the game so I can give some examples. We're playing well. We're winning the game, we're the better team. At some point, we start getting tired and we start putting our foot off the gas, okay? We're tired. So now the other team gets the ball and we just start accepting the fact that they're going to be attacking us and we're just going to be there just trying to defend. But why? Why? Because fatigue really stops you from thinking straight. You start it's okay. You start accepting stuff that you wouldn't. Normally you would say no, that's not happening. Why are they pushing us into? Why are they keeping us in our half? Whoa, wait, we're the better team. Get the ball out of here. Yeah, push up. Be. But that thought process, which was evident at the start of the game when everyone was fresh, wasn't there anymore in the 60th minute when we started getting tired and I was a bit short on the subs. I couldn't really make many changes. Okay, I couldn't really bring fresh legs onto the pitch, someone that can make a difference or kind of pull the team when the team was in need. I didn't have that game changer to come on from the bench and give some energy. Okay, so that wasn't on the table. So we get tired, we start accepting bad positions. We start accepting, I'm just gonna stay, just gonna kind of shuffle. We stopped imposing our will on the game. Although I don't like talking in that manner, which is like I like numbers, okay? I don't like explaining things very in a metaphysical way. What's the word? Something that cannot be touched. Intangible. We stopped imposing our will on the game. No, we need numbers. We need something more, we need to have a structure. We need facts, something rigid, something to measurable. Okay, so I can't really say, I will. No. Got tired, stopped making the right decisions, started making mistakes. We made a couple of mistakes. We consider the goal, and then they get a little bit of confidence, and we kind of drop our heads. Some players are inexperienced. They start kind of folding under the pressure. But then again, why are we folding under the pressure? Where does that pressure come from? That's another thing. I'm not really gonna go into it now, but that's always a fascinating moment of the game when one team scores a goal and all of a sudden something uplifts them. they start attacking. They start all of a sudden, whoa, you were getting smashed for 60 minutes or 70 or 80 minutes. How come all of a sudden you're all over us? Why didn't you do that from the start? So there's something up here. Okay, there's something up here. The mental precedes everything else that happens on the pitch. It starts up here. So as much as you want to work on skills, technical ability, kick-ups, pass, left, right, it is just as important or even more important to work on your mental, on the mental aspect, to be sharp mentally, to be strong mentally, to push yourself, to know that you're tough, that you're not gonna fold, because you've put yourself into difficult positions before that. Prepare in your preparation, so you kind of expect what's gonna happen. Okay, you've pushed yourself to exhaustion, so you know how it feels. So when you get exhausted, you're trained. Okay, you are prepared. You know what it feels like to be exhausted. Some people don't. Some people have no idea. When they get there, they break because they're not ready. But the more times you push yourself to exhaustion and to fatigue, and then work from there, you kind of start becoming, it's not new to you anymore. Like, okay, I've been here many times. I know how it feels. And the more times you've been there and came back, every time I'm fatigued, like I'm exhausted, I reach that point. And then as soon as I recover, let's say 1 hour after, I'm like, it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad. Why was I thinking this? Why was I thinking that? I start analyzing it. And then the next time I'm like, okay, I know that once I reach that point, my thoughts are going to be a little bit all over the place. Maybe I shouldn't really listen to them. Okay, that's one thing. That's one thing, to prepare yourself. You're preparing yourself mentally for where that point of exhaustion comes. Because it's inevitable. If you work hard enough, you're going to get there. Okay, you're going to get there. Physically, you'll be exhausted. And it's just a matter of being prepared for that moment. So, in other words, you prepare yourself not to trust your thoughts at that moment, because you shouldn't, because they're very bad. I'm telling you, I can tell you from experience. I've had sessions, like not football, but I've been pushed so hard. I've pushed myself so hard, whatever, it doesn't matter, in like a workout or in a training session, in whatever, wrestling or whatever it is, jiu-jitsu, well, it doesn't matter, let's say sparring, okay, in sparring, I've been pushed so hard when I'm in that moment. It's like time slows down, and these negative thoughts start going through your head, and you start asking, like literally time slows down, and I'm thinking, I've clocked these thoughts just flowing past my head. I'm thinking like, why am I doing this? But I'm talking about, this is like the end. I've been tired, I've been exhausted. I'm telling you, like, this is breaking point, and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself? What am I even doing? Do I want, why? All these questions, you see, it's very negative. I'm thinking, I've had thoughts like, I just wanna, right now, immediately, I just wanna disappear. Just this boop, Thanos snap me out of existence. I don't wanna be alive. I just wanna, please, I hope Earth opens up and just takes me and just take me out. I don't wanna be here anymore. I thought that, like, for the split second. I'm not saying I'm suicidal or anything, but it's just the level of thoughts that go through your head is just like next level. Not even weird. It's just fatigue. What fatigue does to you? Physical exhaustion. What it does to your brain. Just giving an example. Not many people have gone there. Some people have. Like, I know a lot of people that have pushed themselves that hard. and they all have the same thoughts. It's just a matter of how hard you've pushed yourself. Basically, that's what is going to determine how negative your thoughts are going to be. But once you've been there and you kind of, okay, I understand. Like, I understand, yeah. There is definitely some sort of connection. There is a link between fatigue and the kind of thoughts that go through your head. High energy, nice thoughts. Low energy, they start getting darker and darker, and you can get to a point where it's quite unpleasant. But then you get past it, and you're like, it wasn't that bad. And the worst thing is, you get past it, and if you didn't really give everything, you didn't give everything that you had, and you're like, and now you're feeling nice, and you're like, why did I stop there? I know I was tired, but I had a bit more. You never want to be in that position, just looking back and knowing I had a bit more. Why didn't I should have just pushed through it. Yeah. That's real. That's real. So you want to be prepared. We go back to my original thought is getting prepared to be tired. Okay. Understanding, just to summarize, understanding that your physical state and your mental state are linked. One impacts the other. Understanding that you want to be prepared for what's going to happen to you. So it comes down to preparation. When you're preparing for a game or for whatever, you have to prepare for the worst situation. Okay? And then that preparedness, when you prepare for the worst, you're preparing yourself to stay in the fight. And if you've prepared well enough to stay in the fight, sooner or later the tide is going to turn. The tide is going to shift. And it's going to be your turn. And if you've managed to keep yourself in the game, in the fight, in whatever, then you have your chance. And then let's see if they prepared for that as well. If they prepared for that moment, or they were just thinking that everything's going to go well, everything's going to go their way. So just to put the finishing touches, it's about preparing for the bad moments that they are going to come. The better prepared you are, that's eventually going to be very, very, very important when it comes to whether you win or whether you lose. Yeah. That's what I wanted to say without going into too much depth, analyzing the game, what happened, what this, what that. That's something, yeah, that's what I wanted. That makes a massive difference. A lot of people crack, especially, some people, they've never pushed themselves that far and they just crack. When it goes there, they don't have the pain threshold. Like their pain threshold is so low that they've never been past here. When you push them here, they break. It's over. They're not coming back. It's over. They're finished. They've accepted defeat because you've taken them to uncharted territory for them. They don't know what it's like to be there. So they're like, oh my God, don't want any of this. Don't want any part of that. And then when it ends, then they need to start asking themselves the question, oh, maybe I had more, maybe this, maybe that. Then they can start their own journey. But yeah, this is it. Yeah, I got that out of the way. That's what I wanted to say. What else did I want to say? There was a great fight last night, boxing match. So Bivol versus Beterbiev. And obviously I wanted Bivol to win. Anyone now, I'm not really gonna talk about boxing. I'm just gonna talk about yeah, the mental aspect of the fight, not even of the fight, just how Bivol lost. Okay, they gave the decision to Beterbiev. Okay, so this fight, just quick intro to the fight. This was like one of the biggest fights of the year, not even the year, maybe the decade, maybe the last 2 decades, I don't know. Both undefeated, Bivol, the better boxer, Beterbiev is the bigger puncher. So basically you have the boxer, punch, move, not get punched, blah, 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 against the puncher, okay? Everyone that comes Beterbiev way, they get knocked out. Anyway, so it was like two all-time great boxers fighting each other, both undefeated, both amazing, You can't imagine anyone losing, so it was 50-50. Anyway, it was a close fight. I thought Bivol won, so the boxer. I thought he outboxed him. I thought he did better. It was close, but I could definitely see he won 7 out of the 12 rounds, probably. Worst case scenario, 6-6. Anyway, they give the decision to Beterbiev. And Bivol loses. And you know, boxers, to be a great boxer, great fighter, great anything, you need to have an ego. Like, your ego, you need to have a massive ego, because otherwise, what's going to drive you if you have no ego? Nothing. So you can't really get to that level if you don't have a massive, massive ego. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. If you don't have an ego, then you're just not going to do anything, you know? You know who talks about having no ego and all of that? The Buddhists. The Zen masters. Wow. Nothingness. Wow. Enlightenment. Blah, 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 blah. And they just go there, they live their lives, they do nothing. Not nothing, but they don't strive to achieve anything apart from enlightenment, which is, well, let's say, realizing that you're one with everything else, that everything is just one. Anyway, and they just go do their daily chores and whatever, put in the work just so they can earn their food, so they can eat, then go back to meditating and thinking. Okay, so no ego. They've got no ego. They've let go of the ego. Well, sports, boxing, that you need to have a massive ego, otherwise you're just gonna be like that, depending on how big your ego is. If it's very tiny, no ego, you don't do anything. If it's big, you want to do stuff, you want to achieve things, because your ego is gonna push you. So these things, these guys, they are the top of the game. They're not the best in the world. They're some of the best guys of all time. You know, the level of, the level is insane. And Bivol loses. It's a very controversial loss decision. He definitely felt like he won. When the fight ended, he kind of raised his hands. He did this. Beterbiev was kind of, he looked like he accepted that he lost. Yeah, Bivol thought he won. Everyone around the ring thought Bivol won. Then they say, oh, Beterbiev. And the guy, Bivol, in the post-fight interview, you could see he was devastated. And then they asked him, what do you think you won? And he said, he made no excuses, just the mindset. That's the mindset of a champion. This is as soon as you start listening to what he's saying, although he's not the biggest talker, just the way he spoke, you could see in his eyes, he wasn't really thinking about, oh, they robbed me, or this or that. He was so disappointed in himself that he wasn't perfect. He was thinking so much about, I made mistakes. He said, he won, and I don't want to give excuses. I don't like that. I have to take time and be better. That's all. And you could see the disappointment in his eyes. And the disappointment wasn't just because he got robbed or whatever. He was just disappointed in himself. You could see. And everyone went to him and said, I thought you won, and he never said, Yeah, yeah. He never even nodded. He was just going. He wasn't happy with himself. Although he won, he beat this other guy. He's one of the greatest of all time, one of the biggest punchers. He's knocked out every man that stepped into the ring with him. He didn't knocked out, he beat him. He just didn't get the decision because of, I don't know why. The judges, he can't. But he didn't care about that. He was like, just need to improve. And my philosophy is, I always want to be perfect. I want to be perfect. That's what I care about. That's the feel. That's like the martial artist feel. That's a little bit of a. This is very Zen thing to say to come full circle. I want to be perfect. So he's striving. He's going after this ideal. Obviously, his dream is to have all the belts, all the belts. Da, 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 da. And now he's lost them. But his focus wasn't on the belts. His focus was on being perfect and just continuing to improve. He didn't look disheartened. He was just disappointed. He thought he could have done better. He wasn't thinking about excuses at all. He just said, "No, I lost. I lost, and da, 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 da." I haven't seen the fight, so I can't say. But the judges thought he won. No one does that. No one does. Every other boxer, they start complaining. I thought I won that fight. Da, 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 da. No, the guy is single-minded. So single-minded. He's just focused on perfecting his craft. This is so inspiring to see. Honestly, that's why I wanted to kind of talk about this a little bit. It was so inspiring. Now the way I feel so inspired. I don't care that he lost the fight. I'm so happy that I got to watch this guy, and now that I get to listen to his interviews and all that, and just the level of humility and focus on a single task and goal is so inspiring that there is no win ever can inspire me more than this. Even if you won 50 belts, it wouldn't have made any difference whether you won or lost. The inspiration that I took from him and from what he did and how he conducted himself is much more valuable than any belt. So I hope and I wish that more people could be inspired by people like that. The guy is amazing. Very few athletes are like that. They all, sooner or later, they all show their negative, side. But that was amazing. Amazing to see. If you don't even need to be a boxing fan, just listen to him and you're like, oh, this guy is amazing. Yeah, okay. 28 minutes in. Let's answer some questions. Let's see what questions I've got. Oh, it definitely feels different on a Sunday. Saturday, I'm a bit more energetic, I think. A bit more energetic. I'm like, oh yeah, it's Saturday. Da, 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 da. Not that I'm doing anything. Of course, I live a very disciplined life. But Sunday, Jesus Christ. Okay. Notes. I'm ready to go. I've answered this. I need to delete the ones that I've answered. How do you balance the needs? How do you balance your needs with the needs of others? Okay. How do you balance your needs with the needs of others? Okay, difficult question. Very tough question. Let me see how I answer it. We need to make it a bit more specific, because otherwise we're going to get lost and confused within the question, because there is so many angles that you can answer it from. Like, what do you mean others? Do you mean the needs of your immediate circle? Is that what you need? Or do you mean the needs of like your broader like circle or whatever, just other people, let's say colleagues or whatever else it is? Okay, let's try and answer the first question. My general philosophy, if I could call it that, is first, before you think about yourself and others, you kind of take a step back and you need to try and work out what is important. Not just for yourself, but just in general. Like, what is important? What is important and what is not? Doesn't matter if it's got anything to do with me or not. Just in life, what is important? Truly important. What principles are important to me? Again, there is like everything is a little bit subjective. I believe the more you expand your knowledge, general knowledge, and knowledge of philosophy, and just understanding of philosophy, the more you understand, the more the broader your understanding of philosophy, and the more you improve your thought process and all of this, the more objective you'll be able to be. The more objective you can be, determining what is important and what principles are actually important, and applying them correctly and honestly. Okay? Because a lot of people, in their attempt to apply their principles that they think are important, they apply them with a double standard. Okay? Oh yeah, everything, this needs to be fair, and then they ignore the 50 things that are actually unfair, but they are unfair in their benefit. But then the one thing that is unfair and it goes against them, they're like, this is unfair, they make the biggest deal out of it. But then when things are going their way, but they're unfair, they're like, they don't see anything wrong. They're like, well, it's just, just maybe for once I got lucky or whatever. So the double standard is crazy. You need to step back. You need to separate yourself, like destroy any double standards that you have. Always question yourself when you're about to judge or whatever. Just judge yourself first. Just so you know. I haven't even gone into the question yet. So you need to understand what is important. Justice, honesty, this, that, blah, 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 blah. And I would say, it's not your needs and the needs of others, because you'll never be able to balance this. How I see it, the only way to actually move forward is you have these principles that are up here, these ideals that you strive towards. And what you're doing and what everyone else is doing, kind of, you put the ideal and the principle first. And then what happens after that is kind of secondary. Okay? Then you can start actually thinking, okay, I need this guy needs that, what should I do? Well, what's more important objectively? And try to be as objective as possible. Okay? Before you get to that point, you really need to clarify in your head what is truly important to you. Like, what is the most important thing to you? Is it loyalty? Is it to I don't know, to be happy or whatever else it is, or to bring whatever it is, many things you can have as your top priority. For example, I can tell you one thing. I thought loyalty was like a big thing. I'm still loyal, but like loyalty is not gonna get in the way of my other principles, which is you need to be just, okay? You need to be fair. So justice, honesty, all these principles, justice, do no harm. I don't want to sound like I'm reading from the Bible or whatever other religious book, but anything that you start and you try to do, firstly, I think, is this thing bad? Whatever you're gonna do, you want to do it without hurting anyone else. That's a general principle that I really like. So if I need to help someone, so let's say if my loyalty comes into kind of question or whatever, and I need to hurt someone else to help my friend or whoever else do something, then I need to break one of the two principles. I'm either gonna break the principle of like don't hurt other people that don't deserve it, or I'm gonna break my loyalty. So you need to pick. So your principles are gonna clash, and generally it's a good idea for you to know what you hold dearest. So prioritize them. Which is top, which is second, what is third, and then you can use this as a frame, like a framework for your decision in the decision making process. So that a lot of people base those things just off of how they feel, but then long term, I believe you base your decision of how you feel, and then long term you're like, why did I do that? There was kind of no point. But if you base them on a principle, then at least long term, when you look back and you're like, you know, at least everything I've done, I've tried to keep myself up to a certain moral standard, and not just, I didn't base my decisions off of how I felt. I based them off of what I thought was right, not really how I felt in the moment. All movies, most of the movies, like the biggest, there is drama in them. The drama is most of the times the character making a decision based on emotion, and most of the times they portray the villains. They make them in movies. I don't know if you've noticed, but they make the villains very logical, all these nice qualities. But then they just mess it up, and they make it seem as if being logical is all of a sudden turn you into a villain, and then being very emotional makes you a hero. I don't agree. I just don't agree. Now people are gonna say, oh yeah, this guy, yeah, he can definitely be a villain. What? Because I just like logic, and I say feelings are not really that big of a thing. That was inaccurate statement. The last end of the sentence. Feelings are not really an accurate thing. Forget about this. I didn't say that. It's a Sunday. I get a pass. I just had a game, okay? So give me a pass on this one. I'm still in a recovery phase. Before I go, and I play. Now I'm about to play. So next week, if I'm annoyed about something to do with football, then I'm gonna be venting about frustration. So I played, this happened, that happened. Anyway, on to the next question. My thoughts are a bit all over the place. Next question. Boom. Did I answer this? Can forgiveness truly heal, or does it merely mask pain? I think I answered. I'm not going to answer this now anyway. Is it more important to know the truth even if it makes you unhappy, or is it better to remain unaware and be happy? I'm not gonna go too deep with this one. Is it more important to know the truth and be unhappy? Yeah, of course. Listen, you know my opinion about happiness. If you don't know it, I'm just gonna go over it very quickly. Happiness is not a priority in life. It's good to be happy if you can be. If not, it's not the end all be all. The most important thing is to have a purpose. Okay? That purpose, hopefully, is something positive, and you're not like Thanos and you're trying to go and snap half of life out of existence. Collect the Infinity Stones and boom. Okay, you want to have a purpose and you want it to be positive. Okay, if you can be happy doing it, good. If not, then well, unlucky, unfortunate, it wasn't in the cards for you. Okay, why do I not put that much of weight into happiness? Is because it's not in your control. Okay, it's not completely in your control. To be happy, you need other people. You cannot really control other people, can you? So if you put happiness first, then that means other people are gonna have the ability to take away the most important thing in your life for no fault of your own, pretty much. Yeah? Some people can just decide to leave. You haven't done anything, they just leave, boom, and you're no longer happy. So what happens with your life? If your happiness was the most important thing, or your life now is what? What is your purpose? What is the meaning of your life? You're not happy anymore, and it didn't do anything wrong, but you're not happy anymore. So, yeah, that was my stance on happiness. So I don't remember where I started from. I always, when I start talking about happiness, everything else goes out of the way. I lost my thought. That sucks. That's unfortunate. Let me just remind myself of the question. If it makes you unhappy or remain unaware. Yeah. So you want to know the truth. You want to know what it is. Whether you can be happy or not, as I said, it's like a bonus. It's not the end all be all. It's a bonus. I can be happy. Nice. Okay. If I can't, then I can't. But you want to know the truth. Remain unaware and be happy. Ignorance is bliss. Oh, the old age, the age-old wisdom. Ignorance is bliss. No, it's not. You want the truth, whatever it costs. Doesn't matter. You wanna. Obviously, if you have a choice, pick the truth. Pick the truth. You don't want to live in ignorance, in delusion. I could go into detail now because I saw the door. Ignorance, delusion. These are bad things. Bad things. Bad things. Bad things come from ignorance and from delusion. Most evil in the world comes out of that, if you think about it. Most people that do really bad things, like criminals, they just don't know any better. So they don't know. There is a lack of knowledge. They just don't know any better. Okay, if they knew any better, they wouldn't do all that. They just lack the knowledge. That's how I see it. The knowledge, the information. If they knew what they, if only if they knew better. So if they weren't that ignorant. So ignorance, or being unaware, not knowing, even if the truth is negative, if the truth is not a good thing, it's not, pleasant, it's still the truth. You have to know it, because you don't want to know that. Otherwise, you suffer the consequences. You suffer in the long run. Next question. Are we ultimately just learning how to die? Are we learning how to die? It's a Sunday. I'm under heavy fire. Oh my God. I'm being shot by these questions. Okay. Are we ultimately just learning how to die? You could say yes. Every time mostly you would think no, because that sounds bad, but learning how to die. What do you learn when you live? You learn how to live. You learn a lot about life. I don't want to have too long of a pause. That's a difficult question. I need to think about it more. Maybe I expand on it next week, because I need to go really in depth. But what I can say is that learning how to die, that's one of the things that you learn during your life. Some people do, not many people, because a lot of people, they don't want to think about that part. But if you, like, for example, look at the Spartans. I love the Spartans. They've inspired me a lot. They've played a big role in my life and kind of outlook on things. When I was young, I watched that movie 300. I've watched it maybe 100 times, 50 times, easily 50 times I've watched it. And then I've read basically everything there is to read about the Spartans. Basically, of course, not absolutely everything, but a lot. So for the Spartans, the greatest glory in life was to die in battle. And now, it sounds crazy, but think about it. What is the best way to die? What is it? What would you pick? Would you pick, like, let's say, some sort of illness where you just slowly kind of wither away, just kind of slowly deteriorate, and it's painful, and everyone else gets to, the people that you love, they get to watch you just deteriorate every day, just get worse and worse, weaker and weaker, and that's kind of the image that you leave them with. That's one. So illness. Number two is like something sudden, an accident or a heart attack or something that boom, you're out. That's two. That sounds a bit better than the last one. The negative side, you can't really, you don't really get to say your goodbyes. That's the negative. This is not negative for you because you don't exist anymore, but it's negative for the people that you love. For them, it comes kind of out of nowhere. That's two. And then the third one is, imagine the Spartans in battle. They go to war and they fall. They fall in battle. Come back with your shield or on it. So they go out on their shields, as people say. Now, in this case, you died fighting for what you believe in. Okay? You died fighting for what you believe in, fighting for your principles, fighting for your country, fighting for your loved ones. Can you not see it? Of course, that's the best way to go. Of course, that's the greatest glory. They're not crazy at all. That's if you could pick one way to go. Pick one. Are you gonna say illness? Are you gonna say whatever, heart attack? No, of course not. If you could pick right now the way you go when your time comes, of course, every normal person is gonna wanna go out on their shield. If you don't want to do that, then you're just I don't know what you are. You're a coward or whatever. I don't know. You want to die on the bed? Or you want to die in battle? Fighting to the end. And then think about the way people are going to remember you after that. Let's say you're not some sort of hero. You're not Achilles, you know. You're just an ordinary soldier. But then your family is going to remember you. They're going to be proud. You know, my father or whatever, my brother, my son, blah, blah, blah. My husband, he died fighting for us. What's better than that? Tell me one thing that's better than that. There is nothing. There is nothing. So the Spartans, they knew something that very few people knew. They weren't crazy. They just had a level of belief that is just, and conviction in their action that is just very, very rare, and it's a beautiful thing to see and to observe. And that's why I love that movie so much. I couldn't understand it when I was young. I had no idea. I was like, why would you go with so few men? Why would you go to certain death? Da, 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 da. But they knew that there are things that mean more to them than life. The principles that they have, that meant so much to them that they didn't care about living. They did not care about living if life is without those. If they have to break their principles to live, that's it, mate. That's the highest. I can't think of anything more, just of anything better than this to do. That's the most beautiful story there is. I have never heard a story better than this one. There is not a single story. There's not a single thing I can't think of that anyone's ever done that can top this in my book. The Spartans going to a certain death. They knew. They didn't have no illusions. All of them. They knew where we're going. That's a certain death. But they couldn't break their law. They didn't want to break the law and their traditions. But they couldn't break their principles, their ideals. They had to stand up for what they believe in. They had to stand up for it so other people can see and be inspired and think, oh, yeah, we this is what we are. This is what we stand for. Don't let, yeah. That's the greatest. I'm lost for words. The Spartans, and people try and kind of, they, as I said last week, the historians' fallacy. They apply today's understanding of humanity and culture. They applied that to 2,000 years ago, and they just, you can't do that. This is stupid. It doesn't work like that. People evolve. People get better over time. They learn new things. New things become acceptable. Some things become not so acceptable. Things change. Okay. and then they start, oh yeah, but you know the Spartans, they were gay or whatever, blah blah blah, and they try, as soon as someone hears that, oh, I'm a big fan of the Spartans, they try to ruin their image. But you can't, mate. You can't. There is no better story than this. They can say anything they want to say about them. There is no better story. You can tell me all these stupid arguments. Oh, you know they like kids or you don't understand the times. Times change. Okay, just different times. You can't really judge. You can't really judge the. You can't really judge it like that. This was 2,300 years ago. It was quite a bit of time. So yeah, that's the best way to go. Now, you know what? You could say you're preparing for that moment. For the perfect life, a good death is can definitely add a lot of value to your life, to what your life already was, like a good death. And not, yeah, it's difficult, it's complex, but it is what it is. King Leonidas, the king of the Spartans, he went there and he died with them. He didn't have to go. He didn't have to go, but he went there, he fought. He fought. That's the type of person. Imagine the king. I need to watch the movie again. I need to read the book again. Spartans. Last question. 57 minutes in. Is discomfort a barrier holding us back or a signal for growth? Discomfort is not a single. It's not a signal. Sunday. Never again on Sunday. That's not good. I don't like it. Routine, guys. Routine is important. My routine is Saturday, so Saturday it is from now on. Is discomfort a barrier holding us back or a signal for growth? It's not a signal. Discomfort. You can feel this. Is it a signal? Discomfort. Discomfort is the area that you need to spend a long time in. You need to prolong periods of discomfort is very healthy for you. The longer you can endure it for, the better. Discomfort. I'm constantly looking to put myself in an uncomfortable position, because otherwise I feel like I'm wasting time. If I'm comfortable, I'm kind of wasting my time. Like, what am I doing? What's happening to me? What am I getting out of this? How am I pushing myself to be better, to be more than what I am? How am I doing that if I'm comfortable? What is actually pushing me? Or am I just kind of basically doing nothing and just to pass time? Discomfort is where you know, okay, I'm doing something. I'm doing something. It's not the best, but I'm doing something. Your ability to push yourself there and to stay there is going to determine a lot. It's going to have a big influence of where you end up in life. Discomfort, because a lot of things are not comfortable. It's painful. It's painful. Your muscles don't grow unless you push them. You need to push them. When you lift heavy weights, that's not comfortable. It sucks. That's just obviously a very basic example. But you need to go there. You need to go into that area of just, suck. That sucks, mate. You need to get there, move past it. But then after you've been there, you need to kind of evaluate what happened, what did I do, why did I do it, That's the equivalent of you've been to the gym, you've pushed yourself hard, you're very uncomfortable, but now you need to get your protein in. You have to get your protein in. That's the important bit. Because you can be uncomfortable and just kind of stay there and just get depressed and demoralized and all that, because you're not really looking to learn and to take anything out of it. You just kind of have this mindset of just defeat, you just kind of accept defeat. It's what it is, it just sucks. No, stay positive, keep learning from it. You need to be inspired. Inspiration. Discomfort is discomfort. Okay, that's a thing I accepted. That's what it is. Learn. Add knowledge. Take something from it. Take something. This is the equivalent of eating your protein when you go to the gym. You've gone through the discomfort, through the pain, through the struggle, lifting all those weights, being sore, but you need to get your protein in. Otherwise, you haven't done much. Okay, you're not gonna get the benefits, because there is no, lifting weights, you break down the muscles, but then you don't get the protein in. What's gonna repair the muscles, make them stronger? You don't really give them that opportunity by not getting the protein in, and you're not giving yourself the opportunity to grow unless you analyze what you're doing. Okay, what did I learn from this? Why did I put myself there? What was the goal? Analysis, evaluation, self-reflection. That's it. That's discomfort for you. It's not a barrier. It's not a barrier. It's where you need to be. That's what discomfort is. Comfort is repulsive to me. Makes me feel depressed. Makes me feel stuck. Oh, I'm comfortable. I don't want to be comfortable. Why? It makes me feel stuck, as if I'm waiting to die. I'm just doing nothing and I'm just kind of getting ready to die. Oh yeah, that's fine. People that are too comfortable, see, there's nothing to them. They're like, yeah. Yeah, I drink my whiskey at night. Yeah, I need to drink my tea now. They slowly but surely just become like these, they become very hedonistic. So pleasure. They just look for pleasure, and they just look for things to be easier and easier. Hedonism. Search up hedonism. HEDONISM. That's it. I'm finished. I'm done. I've said enough on a Sunday. 1 hour and 3 minutes and 30 seconds. We pushed through it. Consistency. Is that my best episode? Probably not. Did I stay in the fight though? Of course I did. That's what I said in the beginning. Your ability to stay in the fight is gonna determine the outcome most of the times. So number 12 is finished. We're on to number 13 next week, and we keep it moving. No days off, no weeks off, and just keep the intensity up. Whatever comes. I'm ready to go, ready to fight. Okay, whoever watched it, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Whoever didn't get to hear, well, unlucky for you. Unlucky for you. So it is what it is. Okay, I'll be back next week, and better. I'll be back better.